This whole internet thing is catching on. We've got some experts here going to tell us how it works. Giddy up. Welcome everyone to Your Little Castle Show. We've got a lot of experts that we invite to be on the show here, ranging from roofing, decking. We recently had a 3D'ographer, 3D printing, but they would do the scan to turn whatever object you've got into. A little marriage counselors. This one today, everybody, is close to my heart because, as most people know, I've become a bit of an internet marketing guy over the last 20 years or so. Because I wrote my master's thesis back in 1995. I started, finished at 98 at Webster. The title of my thesis was called "The Internet."
Just the internet.
Just that's like a broad. Like I didn't know that online dating was going to be such a big thing. But bank accounts, everything you can manage now. The interwebs, the internet has changed the way we do business. Well, we brought in a couple experts here that can talk to you about how many people have heard of SEO, search engine optimization. And that's what you want to have done to your website, because if you don't have a website, then you shouldn't even be business to begin with. I get in that discussion with people. We don't have a website. Oh my gosh, how many people are searching for you? They're not finding you, and then they go off to somebody else. And they don't call to tell you they didn't use you. They just go somewhere else. But welcome to the studio here. I'm going to put everybody's names up on the screen here. Brent Feldman and Amber. He's the CEO. Amber Alessi. Now, I knew somebody named Alessi. No relation, but... I worked with at AB, Digital Marketing Account Manager. Yours we got to practice a couple times. CEO, we know that one. Welcome you guys to the Your Little Castle show here in St. Louis, Missouri.
How's it going?
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, well, I had put out a little Facebook blurb out there, and I said, hey, let's try to find some experts. And we didn't really narrow it down. We've got a kind of a niche we go in, and then you guys came in. You actually referred somebody that's been on the show. Doug did a great job. And then... you said you were going to be on. I'm like, cool. That's what I thought originally was with the Doug and the not. But I'm like, hey, everybody's welcome. Doug did a great job. He a mattress company. That's great.
Yeah.
But you really get to help businesses across the board because can you name a business that doesn't need a website?
I think that might be hard to do. Everybody could use it for credibility, for definitely lead generation, for just running their operation, for helping people understand what they do. Websites are so important for everything. And even in the age of AI, as people are asking more and more questions of the internet, quote unquote, really websites are still the place where they can interact with your business. And so that's why I feel like it's ever more important to have not only a website, but a great website too.
Yeah, people judge you based on that. It's a credibility thing like you're talking about. And when people see these things, they go, oh, they know what they're doing, or they go, oh, they look terrible. Or they go, we don't even have one. I'm not sure if they're legitimate or not. First, before we get going too far here, give a shout out to our sponsors, Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle. Most people have a little castle somewhere where they reside. They probably have some associated business with that, and then they have a website. I'm tying it in here. Usually I'm saying people have a house with furniture in it, and they need a deck built. But here in this case, we're saying we need a house so that we live in, because our business is provided by it with in our little castle, because we have a website. So that's the tie in here today. But these days you cannot run success. I don't believe you're serious about your business if you do not have a website. And so now we're putting your guys' websites up there. I'll go back out to the wide.
Yeah.
And there they are. Great Facebook page, great website. Can we say the word WordPress on camera?
I think we can say it. Yeah,
I
don't let you use an advertisement.
I bought a domain called Realtors, and they said, no, that's a trademark word. I guess similar with WordPress. You can't put it in your ads, can't put it in your copy as if it's something you own. But in this case, you can talk about it. You can mention the fact that we do WordPress on your site. But WordPress, has WordPress become the dominant? I'll default to you first here, Amber. Tell me, is WordPress what everybody's using these days?
I mean, pretty much. Like, especially if you're going to get a professionally done and designed, nice-looking website, I think WordPress is what, 40% of the internet is on the WordPress website. So, yeah, I would say that's the dominant.
Only 40%.
Only 40%. Yeah.
It's about half.
Almost half the internet.
I researched this. I won't say who and I won't say where because it's close to home. A little bit. I'll give a little to it. And I'm like, I just said her name there. Ma'am. Sounds like my word I was going to say. The website that our friend made for us is on a platform that has 93,000 websites, because I never heard of it. I looked it up in Google search. How many? 93,000 websites. She goes, that sounds like a lot. I'm like, Mom, there's like 1.4 billion websites, and they're like 1/10 of 1%. If something goes wrong with this, who's going to fix it? It does turn out to be a good-looking website. This the gentleman who's helping with that website. Did I say who I was talking to there? Did I mention that? But anyway, but I'm like, get something that's got that cross-platform that everyone can support, that anyone can manage, and it's universally friendly with all the places you need to be, and SEO, right?
Definitely, absolutely. But I'm glad you talked on the support for the website thing, because that is actually how we get a lot of people coming to us. People that might have a website, but they either have an outdated website, they need to make updates to the actual platform or the plugins, and so this can be a WordPress website they just need help with, and so we'll provide the hosting, we'll provide maintenance, support, and that includes not only our team of support experts. We have people that are actually dedicated to support. So if you want to call us, if you want to send us an email to support@matchboxdesigngroup.com, there's an actual person that will answer that. So we have a great dedicated support team, and then they have access to the rest of our team depending on what kind of need or support issue you might have.
Yeah, and tell me, Amber, I get into this, tell me if this is something you deal with, but what websites, WordPress in particular, all of them, are essentially software. They're not just a billboard. People are like, what do you got to do to maintain a website? You just put it out there and leave it there. Like, no. Have you ever been hit with a malware attack? Which one of my websites recently, they took it down because we didn't do much about it. It's a site we hadn't used for an old TV show we did a long time ago. And it just went down. I said, well, but these hackers like to get in there and feed in. Tell me about maintenance. How important is that kind of work? Because people...
It's incredibly important, because you have all these... Well, WordPress, in order to do a lot of different things on a site and different functionality, there's a lot of plugins involved. From your form functionality to, different aspects of the site.
Sliders, all kinds.
Yeah, sliders, whatever it may be, image interactivity or things like that. Forms are a big part for me, because on the SEO side of things, we're talking a lot about conversions and stuff like that. And you've got companies that develop these plugins, and so they have updates regularly to those plugins. And if you don't update those regularly, which is part of maintenance and maintaining your site, it might not mesh well with the version of WordPress you're on, or things like that, or it might not mesh with the other aspects of your site, your database, things like that. So you really got to do a good job of updating and maintaining your website on a regular basis.
Worse than that, like mine happened, one of the malware, you get an attack, and now it's sending stuff out to people saying, hey, putting little robots on their computers and tracking what they do, and you don't want to get busted for that. So that's not a good. Yeah. Oh yeah, don't go to that website. Those guys were doing that. My hosting company, they shut the site down because it came about. But tell me, let's back up here a little bit. Tell me what led you, Brent, here to where you're at now. You've been doing this. Is it almost 20 years?
Almost 20 years. Yep.
And what led you to be involved with doing webmaster, web guru?
Yeah, it was shared talents of my business partner and I. So myself and my business partner, Cullen Whitmore, we started this company in July of 2006. So yeah, we're looking forward to our 20th anniversary next year. Yeah, and finally we'll get to play out the joke, which is Matchbox 20. That's all we've been working towards. Yeah, exactly.
You can only do 8 seconds of that. Anyway.
Yeah, our entire soundtrack for next year is that. But no, it was fun. My friend and I both had talents sort of in web design and development. We did it as a hobby on the side. We do it for family, friends, making like images or websites and anyway, and then it finally kind of got brought up over beer and pizza that we should make an agency together. And
the song was playing.
Yeah, and then Matchbox 20 was playing, and then bam, it all happened. Yeah, they thank you for making the genesis story of it there.
Well, it seems like Matchbox is the little box of match, but it can also be the little box of tricks. Like magic comes out of that box essentially.
Absolutely,
and you're creating magic for your clients.
Totally. In times of need, a matchbox can be imperative to your survival. I mean, so yeah. Not to get too deep on it, but really,
that is pretty profound. But yeah, you're back to listen to the beginning of the show, everybody. If you don't have a website, you're not serious about your business, and so then you should have an expert company that does that. So that's why. Then tell us, Amber, when did you join in? How long have you been working with the company?
I've been working for Matchbox for 6 years. I've actually been in digital marketing for close to 20 years myself, actually. So, yeah, I've been around the block. But working for Matchbox has been really great. It's a different role as an account manager for me. I used to be on the back end, working, doing SEO and PPC, managing those things myself for clients. So I can actually be the account manager and be on the side of just kind of like being the conduit between the subject matter experts, the SMEs on our team, and talking to people and just making sure things
We're
are
throwing out
working.
some cool acronyms there.
Yeah.
So the one you just said, SME, subject matter expert. I had to be that. It just means there's particular. I was the paging guy for Anheuser-Busch back in the day. The routing servers, all those kind of. I was a sub. So tell everybody what that means to be an SME.
Subject matter expert. We have people on our team that are really good at different aspects of SEO. We have people that are really good at technical SEO, which is a lot of back end, sort of like the great and powerful Oz, all the things that you don't know that are working on the back end of a website that really help Google understand what it's about and how they should rank it, and whether you're an expert or not, things like that. And then we have content people who are really great at what they do in making sure that the content is fresh and shows that you are, have expertise and you're trustworthy and all of those things. And so we have a really great team that does all these things for our clients, and we're really proud of the work that we do.
There we go. So tell me, you've got some SMEs. Mm-hmm. When did you determine you were the first SME?
Yeah,
Is that true?
Cullen and I really had to be everything to everybody at the beginning, and then we started adding employees our second year in business, and then it was kind of building up from there. It's been an entirely fantastic journey, not only on the people that we have at the company currently. We also still keep great relationships with a lot of people who have been with us, and we've seen them go on and do really other interesting things. But as a business owner, it's really neat to be able to craft a team of people that know way more than you do, and that's honestly the most fun part about it.
Yeah, bringing a team together of people that you don't ever want to be the smartest guy in the room. You have the people that you've brought in that work for you to do that. The other one you mentioned there, who wants to tell me this? PPC. Boy, I can tell you about what's PPC. Why is that important?
Pay-per-click. It's really important as a business to have a well-rounded marketing strategy, and not just focus all of your energy and put all of your eggs in one basket. Really, SEO and PPC can feed off of each other. They are not directly connected per se, according to Google, but it is really helpful to have visibility both on the ad side, because if you're looking at the search engine result page, the ads do show up on the top and the bottom. And so if you're showing up and you're doing really good with your ads and you're spending the money you need to and you're competitive, you can be showing up at the top with your ads, but then as people scroll, they're going to see you organically as well. And so it's really important to play in both areas so that you get the most visibility possible, the most bang for your buck.
Yeah. Brent, that it's kind of competitive out there. I can tell you stories of businesses that I've worked. I manage $100,000 a month PPC accounts, AdWords, Google AdWords, they call it, right? Yeah. And they would send cease and desist to companies that would bid on their name.
Yep.
So somebody said, "I want this company," I won't say who. Then right there, their competitor would show up because they just said paid for that. It's technically a keyword. You can get into whether that's fair game or not, but how does the PPC game get played?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because that is the thing that I wouldn't always recommend that somebody do, but you can actually bid on competitors' names and stuff now. And, there's ways to make it more relevant, but I wouldn't say that is definitely the strategy that most businesses want to go after. You want to go, what are you good at? What are you trying to get? What pain point are you solving for, the client you're working for? And that's what you can really hopefully run a good, strong ad on.
Yeah. If you bid on somebody else's name, they're usually going to go, "That's not them. That wasn't who I looked for." They'll click on it, it costs you, and they're still going to go back to look for who they were originally trying to find.
Exactly.
So not usually a good strategy, but but like deck expert, right?
Yep.
That would be a good keyword. Now that's what would be called a broad keyword.
Yeah.
But because you didn't say St. Louis on there, so then that allows you, if you're not a broad national company. You can pick where you want to target that and show up for that keyword. Is that right?
Definitely. Well, and I think you touched on something, and it's cool. I'm glad you know a little bit about it too. You're definitely not, probably a regular host who might not be as deep in the ads world, but that's exactly it. Bidding on a broad, sort of match term is important, especially if you're playing in a big market and you're maybe one of the bigger players and stuff in it. But I will say for especially smaller players, in order to be competitive, you may have to find those longer tail words that cost you a little bit less in order to be competitive with the rest of the people in the market. But there can still be really, really good niche opportunities, because if you're a deck expert that focuses on a certain type of wood, or you're a deck expert that only does composite materials and stuff for your decks, you can use those words to more hyper target whatever that sort of ad is going to be, and then you complement it with an actual ad copy to match, and then hopefully an actual landing page to match with that too.
We're getting a master's level training here, everybody. But the long-term keywords, that's where you're really getting into the SEO, right?
Absolutely.
You want to tell me why long-tail keywords
Long-tail keywords.
are so important?
Long-tail keywords are important because you can more readily address the actual question that someone might be asking, or the topic that someone's looking for. Because what happens more often than not is people will they will readdress their question. So they might type in something to Google that is very simple, and they might not get the answer they're looking for because it was too simple. So they're going to rewrite their question or their query, and it's going to be a longer tail keyword because what they were looking for was actually something more specific. And so if you have pages of content on your site that address those more specific queries that people are typing in, you're going to actually give them the information that they were actually looking for, as opposed to like red shoes or something. Like, say, that's a really bad example, but
it's actually...
instead of like spider exterminator, you're going to say something like, how do I get rid of spiders in my basement, or whatever. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. So it's great to have exposure and be visible in those broad terms, but it's really great to answer the question that people are asking.
Is it called, I've heard this phrase, a research keyword? They're just digging, and you show up, and that's great, but they're going to go back and dig in further.
Right.
And when you show up for that long tail keyword that Brent was talking about, that's when they're ready to buy. Those are the keywords you want to
Well, yeah, and that's why you're looking at the funnel too. You want to really find out what keywords are at the different aspects or the different points of the funnel too. So the way we do content. Oops, I touched my mic.
No,
The way edit that out. The way we do content is, you have a content pillar. So your service pages would be your main content pillars, and that's where you really want eventually people to convert. And that's like your bottom of the funnel, place. But you're going to get people at those top of the funnel areas, and then that might be a blog where they're asking a specific question or whatever, but then you're going to move them through the funnel, and so you want to get them all the way to the point where they're making conversion too. So
There we go. Funnels, columns, important thing. Write this stuff down. This is a great interview for you guys who are trying to run a successful business. We got to jump into some community stuff we've been working on. Stay tuned here. We'll be back in just a second.
He's a credible surprise for you. We have a lot of stuff to do in the community, but it's getting to work with the great organizations like we have here. So give it up for Little Patriots Embrace, everybody. Woo! And while you're at it, give a shout out to yourselves for showing up tonight to support such an awesome organization. You guys are great. What a nice turnout tonight. And I'm going to turn off that music. So, LPE's mission is to serve our military children during deployments. Little Patriots Embrace is celebrating its 20th year in 2025. Give it up for that. Is that cool? April 2026 will be 21 years. The charity has served over 100,000 military children across the country and has a huge impact on our military families. Isn't that pretty cool? I mean, you think about it, we got troopers going out there, men and women going out there to protect our country, but what do they do with the children? And there's no specific funding for that, right? The military people get paid a little bit for what they do, but families.
His name is Carter Rathwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwish was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged.
Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com. And if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. It takes just a couple seconds. And you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show. And there is no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. So there it is, and that's just part of the fun, and we're looking for more guests, and that's the same ad I think you guys might have saw, from video that was out there saying, come join us. But with that, one of the more important things that businesses have, and you guys, there's a website called Clutch that will evaluate and give reviews about businesses in your space. And so I'm going to put some on the wall for everybody there. I'm going to hit the wide cam. But tell me about Clutch and why you guys are proud. 24 5-star reviews there. What does that mean to you, Brent, and why that's so important?
Yeah, Clutch actually does independent interviews with our clients, and they, after a project is over, after like the period of time, we'll send an opportunity for them to participate in a Clutch interview for us. But we like the fact that it's completely independent. They have to respond to the survey questions, which are given to them by the Clutch team, and then they basically rate us on a series of factors. We're super proud to have that 4.8 aggregate rating. Yeah, lots of 5-star reviews. We absolutely enjoy having just not only unparalleled customer service provided by people like Amber Keegan on our team, but really it's just our goal to do an amazing job with whatever service we're providing, whether it be websites, maintenance, support, or SEO.
There you go. I mean, if there's any place, because generally reviews, they don't give any of this kind of details. Like 5 stars, I like them a lot. Sometimes you get reviews that just say nothing, right? I'll tell my quick story. Guy gave us a review that we've never met, never talked to. We called him like a year ago. All of a sudden he put a 1. And you got to refute this. And then I said, I'm going to go reach out to people that I know that enjoy our show. And quickly I got a 21 stars. We had 5. We had something we're not focused on. We're not good at that. Google blocked us, took it down. How often is this the kind of stuff you have to deal with and help people? Is this part of the equation? People see reviews.
It's a huge part of the equation, especially even more so now that AI is a part of the picture. So we focus on not only doing SEO, search engine optimization. There's a billion acronyms that you could call it, but AI optimization at the end of the day. AIO, there's GEO, whatever. Anyway, there's a lot of acronyms you could call it, but reviews are a big part of it because what the AI tends to do, or what we've seen it do, is like take those reviews into account of a recommendation of a business that they might want to look into. And so like if somebody has unfavorable reviews, whether that's actual text that somebody wrote or an actual low star rating, that's going to factor in what the AI actually returns back to you. So not only is it really important for users that are on Google, they see that little card on the side, they see the amount of stars, but it's actually going to be even more important as AI starts to like take in that information and use it as well.
Very important, yes. And with that, let's get a little breakdown. I'd like to give people like kind of a business analysis. I don't know if it's ROI, but why is it important you think that somebody does to take this type of marketing seriously? And where do they break down with regard to what's the starting point for somebody with you, and what are they missing if they don't do this kind of basic advertising?
Yeah, I don't want to over dramatize it, but I will say that it can be some of the most critical forms of relevance for a business. Just as much as people might be driving down the highway and they might see a billboard, let's say. The next place that they go, unless they wrote down a phone number, unless they, took down, the name, specifically, they're going to go to Google and they're going to be like, what was that thing? I think this was their name. And if you don't come up in that search, then basically they're not going to, be able to find you. You might be on a TV commercial. And even if you have a TV commercial, you're still relying on that person to have paid attention the whole time, take down the web address they see. Now, granted, eventually jingles might soak into their brain, but that takes years. So that's why the internet can be one of those ever important things to have your business ranking in, because essentially it's based on keywords, but it's also based on the relevance of your own brand name too.
Yeah, so I talk about this all the time. All roads lead to your website, and if you do not have a website, you literally you could have the best word of mouth on the planet. I promise you, 50% of those people, probably on the low end, are going, Bob said I got to call this guy Dave who did it, but his name's Dave's Roofing Company, and I'm going to at least do a Google search and find them. And if they don't find you, or they find bad reviews and all the stuff we've talked about, if they don't have a website, then they're not going to take you serious. They don't call you to say, hey, by the way, I didn't want to hire you. I'm going to let you know that. They just disappear. You don't, Bob, I referred to somebody to you, and they go, they never called me.
Yeah.
Will they go to your web? I don't have a website. Are you kidding me? I mean, so all of that. Amber, is this the right path for people? They need to. Why is it so important?
Well, absolutely, and I would be remiss to not mention the piece about marketing that's important is the data and the analytics, and you can have traditional marketing, and I'm not against that in any way, shape, or form, but you can't get the metrics on it. You can't understand your audience from that. You can get general numbers around how many thousands of people watch TV shows and how many people drive by a certain billboard or whatever, but what you can see with your website is specifically from geographic areas, potentially even household income and male female skews of people who are coming to your website, and you can see what actions they're taking, where they're scrolling, where they're sticking around, what they're clicking on. You get actual data and information that's usable for you to make adjustments to your site. Just something as simple as testing out button colors to figure out what they're going to be more likely to click. I mean, just stuff like that.
Very critical of what you're talking about there. Well, tell me before we finish up this first half hour, why should somebody choose you, Brent?
I will say first and foremost, it's definitely the marketing knowledge and intuition that our team has, that we've had it proven not only hopefully through those great ratings that we have, but also through actual success with clients, making sure that they are visible, that they're actually getting increases in revenue, conversions, form submissions, all those sort of things. And those kind of things really do mean a lot to a business at the end of the day. So I would definitely say that the real value in what we bring to the table is online visibility, and that can be absolutely critical to business performance.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to survive these days without this kind of information. Amber, Brent, thanks you guys for sticking around. We're going to do another half hour with you guys to get into some of the real depth here. Stay tuned, everybody. Giddy up.